The Science of Self-Realization by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 7, Returning to the Eternal Religion. The first part, Srila Prabhupada arrives in America, and that was September 18th, 1965. If we are able to do something right, that is a mercy from the divine. We should try to have some humility, but we think to ourselves, why are the particulars of our existence as such? Most people have no awareness of anything except material existence. And rather than this self-aggrandizement, we should realize that anything that is supposed to be possible, it is deity that makes it possible. And if through us, people are convinced to take on a spiritual consciousness, it's through that divine mercy. And if entities don't know what their purpose is, or fight against their true purpose, it's them that are responsible for their illusion. But deliverance is possible. Now, it has to be said that witnessing to something is the first step. But that doesn't mean that there is understanding always in that. And when that understanding comes, there needs to be some sort of practice. And sure, rituals and readings and recitation is where it starts. Let's not downplay the importance and the centrality of that. But that stuff becomes of a lifestyle in all modes. And it causes a working in the heart, a working in the mind, a working to express in a way in which we are no longer of the fallen. It is a way that empowers us. It is a way that purifies us. It's a way in which we become a vehicle unto our ultimate transcendent identity. And so, the full purport of the verses, that is something that comes over time. It's something beyond any particular incarnation. Build your nations on the spiritual platform. It's important to have an idea what type of entities there are, what their environment is, the stages that any of these things go through is certainly important. Bhagavad Gita 5:18, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmana Gavehastene Sune Cha Eva Svapake Cha Pandita Samadarsena. And so whatever body one is in, whatever role a person is in. We all, in some way, approach the knowledge, the beliefs, the actions, etc., on equal footing. Kasagra sata bhagasya satam sah sadarsatmaka jiva sukshma svarupo yam sankyatito hechit kana. And we can't number all these particles. We're getting better at estimating it, but the spiritual particles are just as small as these particles that we are hearing about now. A 10,000th of the width of the tip of a hair, those sort of portions. Bhagavad Gita 2:22. Vasam sejirnane yatha vihaya navanengrhanate naroparane tata sarirane vihaya jirnane anyane samyate navane dahe. So, just as you have new clothes, or clean clothes that you change in and out of, so a soul accepts a newness of a body and gives up the old and useless. So whether you believe in reincarnation or not, it comes to the same thing. Is our material existence in this body, it's limited. Chatanas chatananam. So, the supreme force of forces, that is, what to worship here, right? Bhagavad Gita 8:20. Parastasmat tu babodnyo vyakto vyaktat sanat anah yah sasarveshu bhutashu nasyatsu navinasyate. And so, there's a nature that is beyond these limits, transcendental to both the manifesting and the manifested. It doesn't go away. It's supreme, and it remains beyond the world. Because obviously, to create this universe, it took something greater than this universe in one way or another, right? Bhagavad Gita 2:20. Na jayate mreyate vakarachan nayam bhutva bhavetava nabhuya ajo nitya sasvatu yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sarira. The soul is not what dies and is born. It has no birth or death time. And it won't. It's undying, unborn, but ever existing, and primeval. It's not slain when the body's slain. Of course, we have to take care of our body, right? We need to perfect what we can do in this body. Brahma Bhuta. It's when we're aham brahmasmi. When we realize that we're this absolute particle. And by that, we're not saying that we're God. We're saying that, we're not this temporary thing. And in that way, because people say, oh, you saying you becoming a God and you're God of the world. And it's like, in a way, you are, because it all goes through you. But we need to define our words. So it's not really a God that we're claiming to be, just relative to what people are saying, or the sort of thing that people consider to be a God, right? But in a sense, we're beyond the limits of some of these ideas that people may have of a deity. Bhagavad Gita 2:12. Natev avaham jatunasam natavam name janadepah na chaeva na bhavishyamah sarve vayam atah param. So we don't become void. We look back. We're never going to find a time where we didn't exist if we look back into our history, nor if we go forward. Are any of us not going to be as such, right? Prabhasme sase suryayoh. I am the sunshine, I am the moonshine. Raso hamapsu kaunteya. I'm the taste of water. But what does this mean? Bhagavad Gita 1855. Tato mam tattvato jnatva. So we try to understand in truth. And what's that thing in truth? And I'm vaguely, but not on the surface, remembering some Bible passage, or maybe something from the Avesta. Isopanishad 1. Isavasyam idam sarvam yat kim cha jagatyam jagat tanna tyak tanna bunjitha magardah kasyasvid danam. The animate and inanimate in the whole universe that's totally controlled by the Lord. So because of this control, you should only accept what's necessary for yourself, what comes about you because you're just trying to fulfill your needs, and figure out what that portion you need is. And as far as gifts come, don't accept beyond what you're going to use. And know that it belongs to another, or to others. And, one of the guides that people need to look at is whether disability or through spiritual work or whatever, a person may end up receiving donations. You need to put them to use. And if people are in need, you need to give up of your wants if you're doing the spiritual work so that people have what they need. Understand it is not yours. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. And in a way, there's a equiposed view of regard to the various entities, because this being equiposed means that whether the deed is big or small, you're out there to do the right thing, regardless of whether it's a high deed or a low deed to a high person or a low person or thing or whatever. Bhagavad Gita 3:21. Yad yada charate srashthas tat tadeva taro jannah sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. And if you're of greatness, the mundane are going to follow suit. And whatever influence you're having, that is what the world is pursuing. And to make it simpler, your legacy, you get merit for that. But those who are carrying out your legacy, they get their merit for that too. So you're both pursuing of the same reward, as you could call it. A devotee always feels compassion for others' distresses. And we don't want people to go to the hell planets or to prison or to any of the other, right? We do want people to deal with things here in this world if, they can, right? And different areas may live things a bit different, because people get all caught up on certain foods and all sorts of stuff, and different climates have different ways. Srimad Bhagavatam 6:16. Aduneha mahabhaga yathaeva narakan narah nanugra yatanannayat tanme vyakyatum arhase. Now, we've heard from, the teachers about the great hell planets. And people who are very wicked go to those places. Or at least their wickedness outweighs that, right? It outweighs their good, so, they face those results. So are we turning towards the Krur Pambuddha? The example of such? Vancha kalpa taru. We all desire. But are we seeking after the desire tree? Or are we Mahabhaga, fortunate souls? The Brahma Samhita, Chintamane Prakara Sadmasu Kalpa Vriksha. If we attain to the highest planet, we will find what satisfies all our desires. But if we just have a mere desire tree, we are going to end up approaching the hell planets. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.43 Na evo dveje paraduratyaya vaetaranyas tvan virya gayana mahamrta magna chittah sochetato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya baramudvahato vimuddan. Prahlada had said, "O Lord, I don't really care much for my own deliverance. And some people, for example, they think, oh, if I don't develop, it's just for me. So in both ways, there's wrong there, right? Is that the part does affect the whole. And even though it's not just about selfishness, you should care what's going on with you. And did a tree fall? Or I don't even know what that sound was. Find out later, right? Maya sukhaya baramudvahato vimudhan. We shouldn't just want a temporary happiness. A maya sukhaya, an illusory bliss. People all the time do stuff that hurts themselves overall, but it's like in the moment, this is what I'm after, right? Drug addicts are the easiest people to make that example for. Like caffeine, people don't realize it takes more energy than it adds, but your average user will act like that's the opposite. It increases energy, and it overall doesn't. There's a jolt, or jolt's probably not quite the word, that I have something stronger for that, but you know what I mean. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.44 Prayana deva munaya sabhavim mukte kamamaunam charante vijanena parartha nishtha naetan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha eko nanyam dvarasya saranam brahmato nupasya. And one may also say, because sometimes you don't have the desire, because like somebody, I'll bring up the example of the Princess of Cups. The Princess of Cups was like, and I said stuff, and I would say stuff like, no, but you do care. The fact that you feel like like this is more important than you're feeling it is, that's awareness in itself. Because most people, most people think how much they care, no matter how much they care, is, the pure measure of it. But she realized there was the importance beyond, just what she felt about it, But this one is talking about how many pious people and how many sages want to bring out their own liberation. And is this done by isolating yourself? Well, you don't have to isolate yourself. Sometimes you need to step away from bad company, but you don't need to isolate yourself just to isolate yourself, right? Shad Goswami Ashtaka 2 Nana Sastra Vicharanayaka Nipuna Usandharma Samsathapakau Lukanam Hitakarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Saranyakarau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajananandana Matalikau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghu Yugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau. So the 6 Goswamis were experts in the revealed scripture, and they tried to work out the eternal principles to benefit all humanity. And they're absorbed in the mode of the gopis and their transcendent service of Radha and Krishna. And of course, we can look at Radha and Krishna's principles rather than, but it's important to understand a hierarchy. It's important to understand that, I don't know, I think we need to distinguish between the scripture, the revealed and the inspired texts or transmissions, and the, what was worked out by the sages. But certainly considering the past analysis and attempts to make the connections is important. Aduneha Maha Bhagayathaiva Narakan Nara Nanogra Yatanan Nayat Tanme Vyakyatum Arhase. How can we be delivered from intense misery and unbearable pain? And so some have fallen to the hell life, but that may not be eternal. Certainly, if it's in this life, it doesn't have to be eternal. Srimad Bhagavatam 617, Na ched eha eva pachitim yatam hasa kritasya kuryan mana upta panebe dhruvam savaye pratya narakandupayate ye kirteta me bhavata stigma yatana. And so the different types of hell and their difficulties have been explained in detail, but they can be counteracted. And in a way, we can say they're counteracted. There's a kingdom of heaven and a kingdom of hell, you could say. So are you building one or the other? Are you taking away from one or the other? Srimad Bhagavatam 618. Tasmat pura evasav eha papa nishkritau yatata mrtyor aviparyatarmana doshasya darshtava guru langavam yatha vishak chekete cheket sata rujam niranavit. And so, scriptures have described how we should deal with some of these things. And if one has made a mistake, at least admit it to yourself, and, at least admit it to yourself is my own comment to that. You need to counteract it. Sarvasya chaham harde sannisvishtah. Deity is within the heart of all. Matah smartirjnanam apohanam cha. From deity comes the remembrance. So our ability to remember, to know, or even to forget, because some things you'd like to forget, regardless of the position, right? You don't want everything in your consciousness. This ability comes from divinity. And the response, if you know what's really commanded, sometimes you may not be sure, but if you know it's really commanded, what your real rule is for the circumstance. Karishyeva chanam tava. You should be like, okay, ultimate causal being, now I'm carrying out your order. Yata chase tapta kuru. But if you're not doing the right thing, if you're not having the right consciousness, deity's going to be like, okay, I'm fine with that. Not going to force you to, right? May give you further opportunity later, but not going to force it. Doshasya